Good morning, everybody. I might be putting them back on a little bit later in the show. Sammy, United People CV, it's Monday. And I tell you what, this is 3 back-to-back Mondays where we've got on a hair of my eye. Had a good vibe here this morning. Yesterday, hey, was it as overall a convincing win compared to what you saw against City and Arsenal? I think maybe they were the better performances overall, but a last-minute winner for Sesko in front of the Stretford end. United, 9 points from our last 9. And inside those 9 points, I think we've gained 5 points on Villa, 6 points on City, and 5 points on Arsenal. Are we top 4 favourites now? Well, these are the questions we're going to be speaking about in today's show. It's going to be a cracker. It's transfer deadline day. No, nothing's going to be happening. No, nothing was ever really going to be happening. Anyway, I'm just going to enjoy today's show. And I think I'm going to enjoy this week. Who did what at the weekend? Did you have a good time? What'd you get up to? I'm pretty sure you enjoyed Sunday, because I did. Let me say hello to everybody. We'll get on with today's show. We've got Carl, we've got Steph, we've got Maddie, Gungshi. Good morning to all of you. JC, I see you there too. We've got Lozmeister, Toby, we've got Saeed, we've got Rich. We've got some non-members as well. Carrick fan, we've got United Owen. We've got SPOU, we've got Barry Waters. Good morning to you all. It's just going to be a good show. I'm really going to enjoy it because, well, because United won 3 in a row. Amrin won 3 in a row once as a United manager. Carrick has managed it in his first game. Did you all think that we had... Yeah, when that goal went in from Kevin, my heart dropped a little bit, I'll be completely honest. But there was time. Sesko got his moment. Let's run through it. As always, please do get involved in the chat. I'll try and answer as many of your questions as I can throughout the entire show. Let's enjoy it. First things first, can I say, if you so wish, please have a listen to the latest podcast. Me, Dan and Nick, we recorded it last night. The video will be going up tonight at around about 7:30, 8 p.m. on YouTube if you prefer to wait for the video format. But if you like listening to the podcasts, it's already up on Spotify and on Apple. And you can see the title there. Are United top 4 favourites? We'll take a look at the table and you can let me know what you think. Someone's going to get a haircut. It's bloody annoying that people still talk about him. Sam, you're saying, morning, Sam was raging when the ref held up 9 minutes. 9 minutes felt a little bit long, but there was always going to be quite a bit because of the VAR, because there was a couple of stoppages. But it wasn't even 9 minutes, it was bloody 11 minutes. Of course, Kevin scores a worldie. Right, first things first, can I say a big up to everybody who was involved in that protest yesterday. I saw there was a statement coming out from Greater Manchester Police that there was 500-600 people there. They looked like there was significantly more than 500-600 people there. Will these protests in isolation make a difference? No, they won't. But collectively, it's important that United's fans' voices aren't... Well, I suppose they ignore quite a lot of it. Let's be totally honest. But it's still really important for protests like this to happen. So well done to 1958 and well done to everybody for being involved in it. I wonder if we ever get listened to at some point. Maybe, maybe not. Don't quite know. Jace, calm down. Are we in a title race? 21 is coming though, so. Who's that? Mania, good morning to you. Gifting some memberships, dude. All of you, make sure you jump into the Discord. What do you think about that? Had to get a photo of that put up. That Cunha celebration. Bueno. But yeah, as I said, and I have been saying for a good while now, United are not expected, been expected to make any transfers in January. We went after Semenyo. That didn't work out. End of conversation. There's never been a Sigma midfielder. Nonsense headlines just to feed United fans. Right, Liverpool, though. Bloody hell. What's that? Another 70 mil? Jeremy Jacquet was one of the players that we looked at. Well, we spoke about. Those 3 young players from France. Kadimata, who's now gone to Al Hilal. Jeremy Jacquet, who's going to Liverpool. And Ayoub Bawadi, who signed a new contract at Lille, but may well be on the move in the summer. We'll find out. Shall we run through the weekend's results? Yes, I think we should. Brighton drawing against Everton. Boring. Arsenal beating Leeds 4-0 away from home. Bournemouth beating Wolves. Chelsea. They were, 2-0 down? That's some comeback from them. Liverpool convincingly beating Newcastle. Villa losing against 10 men. Brentford. They have been dropping points left, right and centre. United beating Fulham, of course. Forest drawing against Palace and Spurs drawing against City. Spurs were awful in the first half. Significantly better in the second half. But again, points dropped all around United. And we have a look at this. Mate, look at his table now. We're 6 points off second. We're 5 points behind Villa. Now, if you had asked me, I don't know, a few weeks ago maybe, I would have said that the top three felt like it was kind of nailed on this season. I didn't know what order it was going to be in, but it felt like Arsenal, City and Villa, they're going to do the job. But look at these drop points. The last three, United have picked up 9 points. Villa have picked up 3. City have picked up 4. And Arsenal have only picked up 4 because we spanked them. Mate, we're on the march, man. We really are on the march. Who have we got next? We've got Spurs next at Old Trafford, and you're going to have to back United in that game. Now, Spurs was significantly better in the second half, sure. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Need City and Liverpool to drop some points. Did they play each other? When did they play each other? Don't know. Title race, someone says Arsenal going to bottle it. Arsenal might. I don't think they will. They might, though. What is that down here? Spurs look a different team with Solanke. Gungshi and JC, good morning to both of you. Legends, dude. The memberships, that's on February's to-do list. In terms of reworking them. I know I've said this so many times before, and I promise you, I've not been ignoring it. It's just too many bloody things to do. West Ham fell apart against Chelsea. Yeah, they did. But it was nearly a perfect weekend of results again for United. Let's speak about it. All right? What's your overall feeling from that game? Is it Liverpool City next? I smell drop points. Nice little cheeky draw. I'll take a cheeky draw there. Take a draw? A cheeky draw. What's your overall feeling from that game? I think I felt like United were kind of in control in the first half. I don't think we were spectacular, but I thought we had the better of the first half. And we were playing slightly slower than we had done in the first 2 games. We had slightly more possession, but we got the goal. Casemiro at the back stick. Second half, we came out and Fulham were better than us in the first 15. And then Cunha, out of nowhere, boom, that goal, that pass from Casemiro and the finish from Cunha was arguably even better. Maybe not even better, but just as good. And then for United to concede in the way that we did, look, Maguire didn't need to go down for the tackle. It was a good penalty. Lamont had that covered. And then Kevin scores a worldie. But United weren't down and out. It was... Oh, man, that dummy from Bruno, the finish from Sesko, the celebrations from Xerxes. It was a big moment yesterday. Like if the first 2 games for Carrick against City and Arsenal, doing that against the top 2 teams in the league, well, that was just ridiculously impressive. There's something different that comes from, I suppose, overcoming adversity in a game. Going 2-0 up but then conceding 2-2 and still having the wherewithal to come back 2.5 minutes later to score a winner. It was class. Let me read out some of your comments. Manny's saying we're 1 midfield injury away from 10th. Have fans realised that? Well, you're coming in all chirpy and cheery this morning. What random comment? This team doesn't have any depth. We know that. In certain positions, we have no depth. But let's not talk about things that haven't happened. Trying to knock United fans off their little, little wave there. And you're saying the protest was banging. I was right in it. Even got a good chat with Kyle Anker. Was the game perfect? Nope. But I don't care. We won. Gives us everything, and we will always back you. Well, give us everything. Talking about the lads. And Sammy saying, I know Ineos have made mistakes, but have done lots of things well. Just don't feel the good things they do are ever talked about, like signings and the thing they're doing for the academy. Recruitment, they've definitely got right. but the optics of what's happened with match-going fans and with match-day fans and the match experience and loyal season ticket holders and loyal United fans being ostracised by the club's decisions and financially hit in the pocket by those decisions, well, you're not really going to get anybody coming out in celebration of recruitment. But you will get people coming out in protest of stuff that's happening directly to them, especially stuff that hits them financially. That's why. What are you saying down here? I'm happy for Sesko that he scored that in front of the Stretford end. Mate, I'm delighted for him. But Carrick himself, let's listen to what he said after the game.
No, that's the moments this place brings, you know, and you couldn't write it any better. To front of the Stretford end, and a big goal, big moment for us, and a big time for him as well. You know, keep wanting to do well as a younger player. It's I'll do him the world of good to have sampled it and felt it. That's what it feels like. You know, not many get to feel that, but he's had it, and the boys have had it, and we've all had it today. Whoever was in the stadium, and that's kind of what you turn up for, you know, for them moments. And
I like that little bit there. He's like, not everyone gets to experience that. You felt it. Like, I'm not lying. It's right there. If you could bottle that and capture it, man, you'd be rich. Let me fill up that photo. I don't want that photo there. I want to speak about Sesko. Mate, what? Like, got photos of all three of them up there, right? So that's now 19 goals in the season for Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo combined. And I've been speaking about Sesko in these last few weeks. And I've been saying that because Cunha and Mbeumo have been delivering the goals, there's been less pressure on Sesko because I suppose it's only in these last 3 games that we've been winning those games. But they've been delivering, so there's a little bit less scrutiny, a little bit less spotlight on him. In the same way that Florian Wirtz kind of managed to completely get away with it for the first 3 months. Well, actually, no, not really, because Liverpool are doing crap. No, that's a bad comparison, and screw them. But for Sesko, and here's the kicker as well, right? He's not exactly been in bad form, is he? Remember, he scored 3 in 2, and was then dropped for the next few games. And that is a really, really good reflection on Sesko for him to do that. Because he would have had every right, really, to be frustrated after scoring 3 and 2, and then Carrick coming in, and then just leaving him on the bench. But in the same way that Cunha was left out the first couple of games from the starting 11 against City, no frustration, came off the bench, got an assist. Scored against Arsenal from the bench. Same starting 11. Couldn't really argue with it because Dorgu scored an absolute worldie and scored in both games against City and Arsenal. But then Cunha comes in and Cunha scores. He comes off the bench. He scores against Arsenal. Sesko comes off the bench and scores the winner against Fulham. No, moping, no sadness. Just players responding. I suppose technically to adversity because they're getting left out of the starting 11. But that's what happens when you've got a good team. In the same way that we don't really have strength in depth in midfield. And I'll speak about Casemiro, I'll speak about Kobbie, I'll speak about Bruno as well. We do have strength in depth up front. And that's free from there. How class is that graphic? The guys made that yesterday. Let me see what you're saying down here. Sleep, you're saying, I hope United don't make the same mistake with Bruno they made when they sold De Gea without having a true replacement lined up. Dude, there is no replacement for Bruno. There will never be a replacement for Bruno. Bruno's going to have to be replaced by 2-3 individuals that collectively do and brings what he does to the team because nobody will. Right? United is such a wonderful club to be in and around when we're winning. Like you kind of get... We've been reminded of it in these last 3 weeks. What Carrick has done has been pretty special so far. There's no denying it. And I said when he came in, I was like, there's absolutely no chance that there should ever be a conversation about Carrick as a permanent manager. Well, Carrick, the floor is yours. Because I really genuinely would argue right now that United are probably favourites to finish inside the top 4, just finish in the Champions League spots. It feels like we're favourites, and that's what happened. Like, football is such a mad sport. A few weeks ago, it felt like we were... It was right at the start of Jan, wasn't it? Kind of hard to be optimistic. United were sort of grinding results here and there, not even getting results, and that was the problem. It felt like a bit of a chore. You didn't really know where the upturn was going to come from. And then we had Darren Fletcher in for a couple of games, and then, slightly better, but again, the results didn't come. Well, definitely didn't come against Brighton. And then Carrick comes in, and then, boom. Beat City, beat Arsenal, and beat Fulham. And I've got all 3 of my favourite goals in these 3 games. The blistering counter-attack from Mbeumo against City. The worldie from outside the box, in off the bar, from Dorgu against Arsenal. And the last-minute winner, Stretford end, injury time, Sesko winner. And after coming... Yesterday was a rollercoaster sort of game. And for Carrick, he's spot on to say this, by the way. We could have played better. There were quite a few times in that half. I don't know whether United were playing or pressing slightly differently, but a couple of times we got caught, those balls in behind the midfield, and then the defence is sitting a little bit too deep. You get that big old gap in midfield. That happened a few times against Fulham. They had quite a lot of more joy playing wide balls. I don't think we were doubling up. Like, Ahmad's work rate was fantastic in and out of possession. But Carrick's right. We can play much better than we did. But we got the result. Everyone's dancing. I'm seeing Maguire's daughter on Instagram dancing to the Cunha dance. I'm seeing Casemiro doing a 6-7 celebration for his son. I'm seeing Delos celebrating with his daughter on the pitch. I'm seeing Rooney's son taking photos with Bruno. And everyone's got smiles on their faces. It's just been a while since that. Remember when Carrick came in, I was like, I just want vibes. Like, we're getting vibes. And it's not just that. It's just really bloody enjoyable. And Ahmad's loving it. Mate, that guy's going to have an album by the end of the season, I swear. How good was that? Sesko said it like Xerxes running on. It almost looked like Xerxes was celebrating the goal more than bloody Sesko was. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Worry about the huge drop-off from Casemiro to Ugarte, says Crowley. I'll speak about Casemiro and just the overall midfield. We're going to struggle to replace Casemiro. I'm not just saying that as a consequence of this upturn in form. But even if United get Elliot Anderson, he doesn't replace everything that Casemiro replaces. Like the goal threat that he has... It's unbelievable, really. What are we saying down here? It's nice to not hear the word suffer in post-match interviews for once. Yeah, preach to the choir there. JC, how you doing, buddy? You're saying if we do not keep Carrick as manager or coach, we should keep him on in some capacity, as Spurs or West Ham would be happy to take on this ex-player as manager. If you don't keep Carrick on as your head coach, Carrick will leave. His ambitions will exceed being anything else at Manchester United. In many ways, I don't think that he would have wanted to be a number 2 under Solskjaer. He feels like now, at this point in his career, he is a head coach and that is the job that he wants. Anything else, I've done my bit. I don't think there's any chance that happens. But yeah, let's go through. Let's speak about some more of these. Yeah. Sesko deserves all the plaudits. Like, what's your reaction to that winner from Sesko? I don't even know if he's going to be in the starting 11 to face Spurs. But I don't think that's going to dishearten him. It's a bit of a luxury, really, for Manchester United to be able to leave out a 22-year-old striker that we signed and to be getting the results that we are getting. Because the worst thing really this season would be if Cunha and Mbeumo weren't hitting the back of the net, they were struggling, and we were starting Sesko every single game, and he was playing 90 minutes every single game, and the pressure would be different. There are different sorts of pressures, and they're relieving some of it for Sesko. And it was a class finish, by the way. It was an awkward finish. Sort of like the ball from Bruno. Mate, that dummy and that... Bruno's disgusting. Really is. You know what's quite funny about Bruno? It feels like rival fans are now starting to get... You know how they could deny it before? Not that they could deny it before, but they were actively denying how good Bruno was before. They just can't... They've run out of anything to say now. They really are. Yeah, he was unlucky to hit the post. That was a couple of minutes after he came on. Really nice ball. Was that Ahmad with the ball in? I think it was. Didn't affect him, though. Didn't affect him. Tidy saying, buzzing. Felt he had a goal coming when he came on. Hector saying, Sam was speaking to a colleague before work. Before Amra got the sack, he thought West Ham would get an easy win. But now he's worried. What is your colleague, a West Ham fan, saying? I don't understand that one. I was there, my voice hurts him. My voice hurts this morning. Keep handling him with care. Carrick developing him. I think he was doing some extra work with Travis Binion. Travis Binion, who of course was United's under-21s head coach before, went into the first team setup as a coach. He was working with a lot of one-on-one stuff with Sesko, and it worked. But it was a really good finish. Like, what was it? Like, side onto the goal, one touch, used the Fulham defender, don't know who it was, almost as a screen, just curled it round. You know how Cunha did that? Was it Gabriel and Raya? Kind of a little bit similar, I suppose. But just kind of curved it around him. The keeper couldn't even see it. He wasn't even looking at the goal. He knew exactly where it was. Great finish from him. And a moment that he will always remember. That time where I scored my first ever goal in front of the Stretford end. The injury time winner goal. Memories, man. Memories. Man, I wish we were able to have Casemiro when he was a younger player. Kind of frustrated, really, that we didn't make more of those 2 years in between of him, really. Because Casemiro right now, he's going toe-to-toe with the Casemiro from first season in terms of the best form that he showed in the United shirt. Casemiro yesterday was, honestly, he was just kind of taking the piss out of Fulham. That goal, just him, Casemiro and Maguire jumping up for sort of lofted balls towards the back stick. Bam. No one can seem to stop him. Dude is ridiculously strong. But even on the ball against Fulham, more so than I think you've seen in the last couple of games, man, he was spraying like 30, 40, 50-yard passes. He was making tackles. And he didn't really look tired when he went off. I think it's kind of just like par for the course is Casemiro sees 70, 75 minutes and then comes off. Got a standing ovation, deservedly so. Mate, that no-look pass. I don't know why it made me laugh so much seeing this photo. Like, because it's not even just like a slight no-look pass. He's looking over there. It's so much a no-look pass. I don't know whether I'm just like making this up in my head. So much intent there. And the ball was perfect. It was one of those passes where Cunha didn't have to break his stride. He just kind of ran onto it. Monstrous performance from him. And that's now 3 games under Carrick. I believe he got man of the match against City. And he got man of the match against Fulham. And deservedly so. And yep, Jamie Carragher has indeed reversed. I still feel it's the right decision, what's happening this summer. But when you look at Casemiro like that, you realise it's going to be difficult to replace him. I mean, it always was going to be, I suppose. But yeah, we're seeing the absolute best version of him, man. The best version of him. And saying he's looking like he's posing for a fashion shoot. What's everyone saying down here? Italian club's going to love Casemiro once he goes there. I wonder what he'll do. I would love Casemiro to win the World Cup and retire. How amazing would that be as sort of an end to your career? Get United back into the Champions League, have arguably your best form in a United shirt, leave United with 2 trophies, FA Cup and League Cup, go to the World Cup, win the first World Cup for Brazil since 2002? End on a high. That would be beautiful. That Casemiro and Cunha hug at the end. Mate, you see that? I should have pulled a photo of that hug up. Cunha was like, you need to find somebody who hugs you like Casemiro hugs Cunha. But yeah. The football hadn't left Casemiro. The system certainly exacerbated the weaknesses of Casemiro, left him isolated a lot. And the system that we're playing in right now, and also the partner. And like, Amram is being made to look really quite silly here. Yeah, with Kobbie. Like, full disclosure. You know what I felt about Amram during his time, and in my eyes, I saw Kobbie as somebody to fight for his place alongside Bruno. Because in my eyes, Kobbie's best football, I still think, comes when he's closer to the opposition's box. I think that's where, that's where his most natural football comes. Tight spaces, one-touch football, pressure on the ball. Kobbie's so good in those situations. But what you're seeing in these last 3 games is just how good Kobbie can be in a midfield too as well. Again, I thought you saw like a different sort of performance from Kobbie against Fulham. He was spraying in the same way that Casemiro was doing a lot of diagonals. Kobbie was doing it too. We saw a lot of his sort of like mid to longer range passing, whereas typically Kobbie kind of keeps it short, keeps it sweet. I thought it was a really mature performance from Kobbie. How would you describe that performance from Kobbie? I just think he's been impressing. That's 3 games on the spin. He started in central midfield alongside Casemiro. And I think you're seeing partnerships, people. So long as they remain fit, I do not see a reason why Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro don't start every single Premier League game between now and the end of the season. When it comes to Martinez and Maguire, I see no reason why those two, as long as they're not fit, as long as they are fit, I don't see why they wouldn't start every game at centre-back. Partnerships. Not chopping and changing for the sake of chopping and changing, but partnerships that work and build together, and then you start playing off each other. Let me see what you're saying down here about Kobbie. I'd love to know what Amram really thinks now. I wouldn't. I don't care. I don't want to go backwards or think backwards. He's just being made to look very silly. Given that Kobbie is playing like this in a midfield too, and physically as well. Remember that against City and Arsenal, he covered more ground than anybody else. So it's not just in possession, it's out of possession as well. Putting some good tackles on for them too. I thought Mainoo killed him with that tackle. Nobody better to learn from for Kobbie than Casemiro. I agree on that one. When De Ligt's fit, he's an upgrade on Maguire. I mean, I think Maguire's been playing pretty well in these last few games. It kind of will be those two. Feel a little bit for Euro and Heaven, I suppose, but you're looking at just competition. You're not looking at favouritism. You're looking at Martinez, who has had to bide his time for like 2 odd years. And Martinez is looking fantastic. Maguire, he was injured since November until the City game. He's come in and played well. De Ligt, we still don't really know what's going to be coming for him because we still don't really know when he's going to be back from injury. But speaking about Kobbie, this is what Carrick said after the game. He said Kobbie's performance was very good in so many ways. He did terrific without the ball. With the ball, has the ability to cope. Moments of quality are just what we expect. It's a joy to watch. And I think he was a joy to watch in that game. And he kind of has been in these last few games. Both of them together. I would say that I was worried about them physically, but we've just seen what they've done against City and Arsenal, who have two of the most physical midfields in the league. It won't be easy against Spurs. They're going to have Bissouma. I don't even know who they play in midfield. Like Conor Gallagher may be playing there too. It will be a tough game. But they're working really well together. They're complementing each other well. And to go back to what Carrick said, and he feels that United could probably play a little bit better. I do think we could play a little bit better. Because quite a few times we were a little bit exposed. You know, those balls over the top. And too much space between the defensive line and the midfield line. And Fulham kind of got in behind. But those two have been playing brilliantly. But, mate. Someone talk to me about Bruno. Richie's saying, do you think it's Kobbie's nailed on to go to the World Cup? I wouldn't say it's nailed on, but you'd be foolish not to take him when he's playing like this. And he's a very different midfielder to what England really kind of have. It's quite unique in that sense. I think Kobbie's going to go to the World Cup. Remember when he went to the Euros, by the way, he only really broke into Manchester United's first team around about January time, didn't he? I think so. Mate, Gungshi, man, thank you for being you. Again, dropping 10. All of you get into the Discord. I jumped into the voice chat after the game. Only a little brief one because I was prepping for the podcast. Going to do. There's just tons of stuff in the Discord. There really is. There's too much for me to try and explain. It's a whole different side to the community. But mate, this. I really like this photo. Probably makes Bruno look like the leader that he is. I honestly don't even think that Bruno had an incredible game against Fulham by his own standards. I thought there were others like Casemiro. I thought had a better individual performance, and a couple of others. But I'm not saying that in a negative sense. But Bruno still comes up with 2 assists, the free kick for Casemiro, and the quality of that dummy, the quality of the pass, the energy to do that in the 94th minute. I love Bruno Fernandes. Always have, always will. I'm very glad I'm going to be on the right side of history because I've never, ever stepped away from my sort of defence of Bruno. And something I absolutely expect to happen this season now. Right? Bruno Fernandes has got himself 12 assists currently. There are 14 games to go. And he needs to find 9 assists in those 14 games to set the record for the most assists in a single Premier League season. I really hope he gets that. He would deserve that individual accolade. Because there's not going to be any accolades coming from trophies this season. There's no silverware that he can add. Getting United back into the Champions League spots is an achievement in itself. But I'd love for him to get that. And in terms of the numbers that he's putting up, I think this is just for United. But Bruno is everything. Like Mr. Moon, you're calling him the architect of the team. He's the heartbeat. Everything goes through Bruno. And again, Ruben Amorim looking a bit foolish, forcing Bruno to play in a position that he'll play. Look, if Michael Carrick comes tomorrow and tells Bruno that he's got to play at centre-back because of injuries, well, where's Bruno going to play? He'll play at centre-back and he'll give his all. But put your players in their best positions and you're probably going to get more out of them. Sometimes football can be really quite simple. It's not about inverted wingers and pressing tactics and in and out of possession shapes. If you've got one of the best number 10s in the world, play him in the number 10. He's going to give you a better output. It's exactly what he's been doing. And I'm glad to see him. How would I even describe it? Like getting the plaudits? Like, I suppose he's had the plaudits, but Critics are running out of energy for Bruno, and that's what I'm enjoying, because he is just stuffing it down their throat. But Bruno can play in his team for another 4 years. That's how well he looks after himself. I would say from a physical perspective, we all know this, Bruno is a bit of a physical freak. He's an anomaly. So where you might be looking at a player who's 30, what is he, 30, 31, 32? You typically look at a player like that and go, oh, that's definitely on the way out. Bruno will probably be going a couple of years more than anyone else. And it makes even less sense considering how he plays, because he's so full tilt. You'd expect him to fade earlier. But if anything, he just looks exactly the same. He looks exactly just as fit. Mania as well. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. It is vibey down here in the chat today. I'm going to have to put my shades on. You can hear it in my voice. I definitely enjoyed myself on Saturday a little bit too much. And I was feeling sorry for myself yesterday. We're back in the game, though, today. Back in the game. It's quite funny they've stopped talking about Bruno's behaviour on the pitch. It's what happens when you're putting in the sort of numbers and performances that Bruno is putting in. Nobody can say a peep. Ark saying, let me be delusional. 21 is coming. At some point it will. Not this year, though. But Bruno, just magnificent. And like these two, you can honestly go through in these last 3 games. I don't even know if there's been a bad performance, really. Sure, there could have been some players that made some mistakes, like Maguire going down for the tackle, or maybe Delo could have been better in the first game against City a little bit. But I think you're kind of clutching. Just overall, everybody's been delivering. Martinez, I might do a video on him this week. Ahmad, I might do a video on him this week. I could do a video on Casemiro, and I probably will. It's everybody collectively is putting in a shift. For Martinez, you know how happy I am for him, because I didn't know whether he was going to be able to recover from the severity of the injury that he had. And he has. We're a significantly better team with him in. Ahmad's work rate out of possession, he's got to be one of the best at that in the league, surely. Quality going forward, but out of possession, he's an absolute menace. He had Anthony Robinson on toast, man. He really did. Anthony Robinson could not stop him and could not keep up with him. He's been relentless since he's coming back from AFCON. And like, for example, I don't think... Let me put a photo up here. Where is it? I don't think that Mbeumo's been incredible in these last 3 games. And he scored against City, of course. But I don't think he's had to be. Because collectively, there's a full team doing it. If it's not Cunha coming up with a goal, it's Casemiro. If it's not Casemiro coming up with a goal, it's Dorgu in 2 games. And if not, then it's Sesko coming off the bench. Everybody's collectively sharing the responsibility in these last few games. There is no, oh, we've just won because Cunha's played outrageous and he's dragging everybody else up. Everyone's just coming up to that level together. And that's the biggest thing I've seen under Carrick. How much more of a team we look like. And that's all credit to him. Let me see what he's saying down here. Ahmad's good on both ends. A talented playmate, he's great. We're doing okay, let's not get carried away. I don't think anyone's getting carried away. I suppose some people will be getting carried away. But from where we were 3 games ago to where we are now, one thing I would remind you of there, and not in like a pessimistic way, but in the same way that all of our belief has returned in these last 3 games, it can easily go in the next 3. Football, it is amazing how quickly momentum can come and go in football. Like, none of us would have expected it to come in the way that it has in these last 3 games, but it has. And now we've got... So let's have a look at our next 3 games. I think we've got Spurs... Is it West Ham? Everton? Newcastle? Have we got Newcastle in there as well? I think we do. Oh, there you go. I've got that right. There's only 3 bloody games in February. So long, man. 7th, 10th and 23rd. 13 bloody days between those 2 games. If United can win these 2 and go into that break off the back of 5 wins, that would be spectacular. But United at home against Spurs, away against West Ham and away against Everton, the toughest of the 3 games there on paper to me looks like Everton. It's our first game at their new stadium. It's 8 p.m. on a Monday. It's not going to be an easy game, that one. I don't think any of them... There are no bloody easy games in football anymore. Everybody knows that. But why not believe? It's not a case of getting carried away. But, yeah, why not believe? Like, why not? Why not think that we're just going to continue this form? I put us down as favourites to beat Spurs. If we can continue that, I put us down as favourites to beat West Ham. We were favourites to beat Fulham, and we delivered. We weren't favourites to beat City or Arsenal, and we delivered on both of those. Let me see what he's saying down here. Forget about selling Bruno. There's one player deserves to choose what he wants. It's him. Either he retires here or he leaves on his own terms. I really didn't think there was going to be any chance of Bruno staying past this season when United were seemingly going forward with Ruben and it was him playing deeper. I thought that was... It felt like that was a pathway because Kobbie would have had to leave the club and I didn't think that was going to happen. Now Kobbie has got his position. Bruno has got his position. They can both be in the same team and play off each other and play well. I don't know if there's any guarantee that Bruno leaves next season. And especially when you kind of think of what we're going to be losing in this man. Maybe United will want to keep Bruno. I mean, United will want to keep Bruno. It's just whether they can, I suppose, make it financially work and what the strategy is in the summer. Let me see what you're saying. 14 more cup finals. We'll find out. Rich is saying Carrick is grounded. I don't think he will let the team get too carried away. Well, you kind of saw that in what his reaction was after the game. Not in a negative sense, but it's like we can play much better. We won't look too far ahead. It's one game at a time. That's all United can do. Now, United fans, we can all get carried away. We can talk about our top 4 chances. We can talk about what's coming towards the end of the season. But for United, if they were to do that, they would probably get distracted. Focus on one game at a time. The question I want to ask all of you, right? In the build-up to that game, we were all saying this arguably could be a bigger game for Carrick and the expectations between now and the end of the season than City and Arsenal. Now that the game is done, is that something that you think's true? Was that win against Fulham, for you, was that a bigger win than what you saw against City and Arsenal? I think we learned something new in that game that we hadn't seen in the games against City and Arsenal. You know, conceding 2 late goals, but not letting the heads drop and still having the quality to go and get that winner. It's not something we needed to see in the first 2 games. I suppose you could say we need to see that against Arsenal, actually, because we conceded an 80. That's 2 games in a row. I didn't even think of that. How long was there between Arsenal's equaliser and Cunha's winner? It can't be far off how long there was between Fulham's equaliser and Sesko's winner. Just thought of that. Right, let me see what you're saying down here. Yeah, and I kind of agree on that one. It wasn't really a low block from Fulham. I think they're actually pretty expansive. I actually thought they played quite a lot of good football. They played around our press multiple times. I suppose the most impressive thing was coming back from that adversity. Going 2-0 up, losing 2 goals. That wasn't most impressive. That was a problem. But still winning it. Stevie saying, I think it was, Sam. That was a game we just wouldn't have won under Amram, and you know it. Like, to be fair to Amram and to be fair to United across the course of this season, there's been quite a lot of times where we've... Spurs away, that was an example. It feels like it's happened quite a few times. Maybe not so much at Old Trafford, but quite a few times this season we've come from conceding to scoring quite quickly. I think it was all like I think it was like 2 or 3 or 4 minutes between Kevin's goal for Fulham and Sesko's winner, and about the same for Arsenal. I think so. Will Holland stay if Carrick goes? That's possible, but probably not likely, because if you think about it, hypothetically, if Carrick was to leave, then the only reason Carrick would be leaving is if somebody like Luis Enrique or maybe Thomas Tuchel, if that's what United want. They're the only real level of manager that United will probably move towards instead of Carrick. And typically when you get a manager of that level coming in, they bring their own staff with them. So probably unlikely that Steve Holland would stay, but I'm not saying impossible. Fulham needed a penalty and a worldie to match us. Mate, that was a great pen. You know he scored 12 from 12. I think he's ever missed a pen in the Prem. No keeper saving that. Hit the bloody roof of the net. What are we saying down here now? Big difference this season has been resilience. They've come back from adversity quite a lot. It's a little bit frustrating that they put themselves in adverse situations too often, but hey, we'll get there. Mate, just keep it going, lads. I really wish it was as simple. I really wish it is as simple as just take it one game at a time. Just enjoy it. You are allowed to have a smile on your face. You are allowed to dance. You are allowed to celebrate. It's not a case of just grounding yourself immediately and don't get too carried away. I don't think any United player will be getting too carried away. But that's 3 Mondays in a row where we've come here off the back of big wins. Back to back to back. We're now 6 points off second in the Premier League. We are firmly in the hunt for a Champions League spot. Now, that was the ambition of the season. Finish inside the top 6. That was the ambition that Omar Barada gave to United We Stand. Now, I did not expect this season to go how it has gone. But we're very much on course. And something to note as well, this. United have scored 44 goals now. That's as many as we scored in 38 games last season. We've matched our tally for goal scoring in the league. It's fair to say that the summer strategy has worked in that sense. Do we have the control in midfield? No. But luckily, Casemiro is really finding his form. Kobbie Mainoo has come back into the team and our midfield all of a sudden looks a bit stronger. I would agree with what a lot of you said down there. The drop-off between Casemiro and Ugarte was quite startling and a problem. I don't really know how you avoid that, because I don't really think United should be risking Casemiro for 90 minutes every single week. But they have to find a little bit of a better solution. Maybe than Ugarte. I don't know what that is. But scored as many goals as we did in all of last season with 14 games to go. We're 6 points off second. And yeah, I thought Villa was I thought they were kind of done and dusted and the top 3 were made. United could easily finish second this season now. I don't think that's too crazy to think about. Do I think that there's any chance of a title push? No, I don't. But I also don't know what's going to happen at Arsenal. They really could crumble. They absolutely could crumble. I still wouldn't expect other teams to take advantage of that more so than United do. I think we're just too far behind. But just take it one game at a time. Who knows? In 10 games' time, if we go and do this in how we'd like, if we continue our form and continue our momentum, I don't think we're going to win 10 games in a row. But just keep going. Do we have 42 points in total last season? Mate. That's disgusting. Anyway, we're all lined up for a cracking week. I'm going to enjoy the videos that I make, and I hope you do too. Plan of attack. Lunchtime today is going to be the what we learned from that game against Fulham. Evening tonight, it's going to be a double drop. It's going to be the video version of the podcast. And then all week, I'll be here Monday to Friday, 10 a.m, live and direct. As always, I'm going to read through some of your comments. Let me put a nice photo up for the end. Yeah, we like that. Let me see what you're saying. James is saying, what do you prefer? Carrick playing the United way or Enrique Tuchel playing their own style, or is it just winning games regardless? Carrick playing the United way? Carrick's playing his football. It just so happens to be that we're seeing these hallmarks of a United team being enabled by the setup that we have. The last-minute winners, the counter-attacks, the great football, the teamwork, the defensive work, in and out of possession. It's been class. And Carrick's system has enabled that. What are you saying down here? Not seeing City and Villa catch up with Arsenal now. They'll win the league. Probably will. I'll be honest. I still think Arsenal win the league. But they very much could completely collapse. Let's not rule that out. But look, if you are new in town, please do consider subscribing to United People's TV. I might have to get the song up to end this and hope that it doesn't get slapped for copyright, which it probably will, but who cares? I'm gonna do it anyway. This guy's gonna have it. Have you heard of Kobbie Fernandes one? Fernandes again. Banger. Do I like that one more? I'm not sure.
Paul cleverly on the beat.
See you tomorrow, people.